How does a character redeem themselves in a narrative? Do the sins have to be narrative specific, or can they relate to the character sins in the world? I'm gonna answer this in the best way I can, because like when you say like in the world, I assume you mean in the fiction. But like a character, their redemption, I actually talk about this in my Homelander video. If a character is going to be redeemed, it effectively is the same way, and I would say it's like analogous to how like redemption, or at least I would say gaining forgiveness in the real world happens, is that you have to show qualities, or the character would have to show qualities that are opposing whatever things earned them like the dissatisfaction or like the ire of the other characters in the first place, right? In the real world, you know, if I went around punching orphans, that would probably suck, probably not be a good thing for me to do. And if people caught me punching orphans in the face, they'd be, I think, rightfully mad at me. But if I then spent, you know, 10 years donating to orphanages, feeding kids, helping people find orphans to adopt, all that kind of stuff, being pacifistic, that would probably, in most people's eyes, be like, oh, okay, he has put the action forward to change who he is. He doesn't punch orphans anymore. And if anything, he helps orphans now. Same thing in like a story, right? So if we want to reference Avatar: The Last Airbender, one of the things that Zuko did across the entire first season and even second season was he wanted to hunt down the Avatar to like kill him. Or I'm sorry, well, I guess he wanted to capture the Avatar or kill him, whatever it is. In the third season, his redemption came from him actively trying to save Aang and the group and helping them in achieving their goals, right? Zuko couldn't have just like asked them to forgive him. That wouldn't have worked. Obviously, because Katara didn't forgive him, because Katara's like, yeah, you can come into here. But Katara was very mistrustful, but it wasn't until he put his like, you know, actions in place that he was able to be properly redeemed. So you cannot have a character do terrible things and then just ask for forgiveness because they've learned the error of their ways. They have to put actions into place if you're going to try to write this in a way that'll be like satisfying to a viewer and realistic. I mean, you could do anything you want when it comes to your characters, but they have to do something that shows them not only abandoning their previously held bad like beliefs and actions, but adopting the opposing good actions and beliefs. And again, that's difficult to do over a story believably, because a lot of writers, I think, either don't understand what it takes because their own conception of morality might be skewed by personal things that they've gone through in their life, or they can't envision proper events that would symbolize movement like that from being in the wrong to in the right. So true nuance is audience being able to have differing equally valid interpretations. Yep. But you still have to present, I think, your audience with evidence for what you want to accomplish. What they take away is completely up to them, but you know. The idea that you would take Cruella de Vil, whose name is literally just Cruel Devil, like that's how over the top, cartoonishly evil she's supposed to be. She like murders dogs and puppies for clothes. She wasn't a nuanced character at all. Like she was just supposed to be super hateable. She was the rich evil woman with no care for anybody else. This literally makes her look like a psycho freak monster devil. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna make her like the main character and redeemable. And then but how are we gonna do that? Oh, we're gonna make it so that her freaking mom, the reason she doesn't like Dalmatians is because her mom was murdered by Dalmatians. Stop hero washing, let villains be villains. Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with having a story where a villain just becomes a villain, right? Like no one starts out like villainous. No one, like, I think, is born as a villain. But I think a bunch of the stories that do stuff like this, and again, like Maleficent, and there's other things where, you know, you kind of lionize the character to become an altered version of their self, because maybe it's like an altered reality, whatever it is. But instead of making a story that details their descent into villainy, they just change them to not be villains. And it comes off so starkly obvious when it's a character like Cruella de Vil, who again is supposed to be evil. She's not supposed to be redeemable. And that's fine. We don't always need redeemable villains, because some characters and stories are literally supposed to be made as allegories for the concept of evil. I don't think we're looking for a lot of like nuance and depth for a movie where a woman kills dogs for fur for her clothes. It's just weird, and I don't think there's a lot of like service done to it. Again, I didn't see the movie, so maybe Emma Stone is fantastic in it, but from the outside in, it just seems like such a weird thing to make, just like, you know, on its face.